Hi guys. I'm coming on here randomly just to give a PSA and to share with you guys what's on my mind, because today has been a great day for me, but I've been noticing some things that's been going around, and I have to speak on it. Okay, so the first thing, the question, the topic of this whole thing is, who's protecting the men? And I'm saying this right now because only today, I've heard I don't want to call them cries for help, but I've seen in three different ways men talk about their mental health. And I just want to say, I'm so proud of you guys for doing that. I'm like, thank you, because more men need to do this. And I'm trying not to get emotional. Was like getting emotional about it because, like, who's helping them? You feel me? So I'm gonna talk about what's on my mind. And it's just something that I've been passionate about for a long time, bro. Okay, so I recently had a friend just kind of like tell me a little bit of his story, and was just like, yo, La, I'm not okay. And I was like, thank you so much for sharing. Thank you so much for telling me your story. And it wasn't even the full story, and that man been through a lot. You feel me? And it hurt my heart. And he also said, nobody ever asked me how I'm doing. Never asked me how is my mental health. Nobody ever asked me, like, am I okay? Even knowing what I've been through, they never ask. And I'm like, I'm sorry. I'm sorry that people don't ask that. I need to do better at that as well. So I check myself, like, I hear you. That was earlier today, right? And then maybe not even an hour ago, I was just on Instagram and I see a streamer that was accused of sexually assaulting a girl that tried to extort him for money because she didn't get her way. Ty something on, I don't watch the streamer stuff, but I saw it on Instagram, like some page posted it, and I was mad for him, bro. The way that the way that men's reputations can be so easily tarnished because they're a man it's sad, because you're guilty until proven innocent, And there's a lot of cases where this happens and nobody says anything, and the man can't really do too much because he's a man. So I'm going to share with you guys some things that you can ask your friends to show that you care, so they don't have to go around saying that nobody asked me, because this is serious. It leads to self-harm. It leads to suicide. It leads to deep depression. It leads to isolation. And it's not a joke at all. Okay? That was just the second one I only told you about two. So the last one was literally after what I saw on Instagram. Another friend, he was on live and he was like, I'm not okay. He said, I'm not okay. And I was so mad, my phone died. But he literally was just like, I'm not drunk. I'm not intoxicated. I'm being open right now. And the fact that he has to announce that he's being open, you don't have to do that. He shouldn't have to do that. Because it's so abnormal for a man to be open about his emotions. Like, that's sad, bro. That is so sad. And it starts, I think, as a child. When boys are told, man up, wipe your tears, boys don't cry, be tough, get through it, so what, nobody cares. Boys are taught to be men before they are men, So this is what the timeline is, because I've dissected this. And not only because I have my master's in psychology, but because I think and I care. And this is really, really what it's like. Just like walk visually walk through this with me, okay? So let's see. We have a young black boy, right? He has little sisters. He has big sisters. He has a mom. He has a dad. He might have other brothers, right? At a young age, as a boy, you're taught football, you're taught sports, you're taught all the boy things, right? You're taught to protect your little sisters no matter what happens, protect them. You're taught to take care of your mom, be the man of the house, even if your dad is gone, especially if your dad is gone, be the man of the house. He's 9. He's 9. You expect him to be a man? He hasn't even reached being a teenager yet. You know, that right there is deep. Okay? And then we go into, let's say he's raised with uncles and brothers and his dad, and they're telling him, like, men don't cry. Suck it up. Stop crying. Wipe your tears. Nobody wants to see that. You weak. Stop looking weak. Look strong. Stop crying. If you cry, I'm going to hit you. Like, so now they're conditioned to hide their tears and hide their emotions and hide their feelings and hide their expressions and hide their sadness and hide their their loneliness because they're supposed to be a man, right? So let's say this kid grows up. We're going to call him Lil Johnny. Let's say Lil Johnny grows up. He's a teenager, right? He's strong. He plays football. He's quick. He's athletic. He works out. He does push-ups. Does everything he's supposed to do. Protects his sisters. But he has no emotion. He's not emotionally intelligent enough to even understand why his sister cries when her feelings are hurt. Or why his sister cries during a movie when it's a sad part. He doesn't get it. Because he was trained to throw that in the back of his mind because that symbolizes weakness, and boys aren't weak. Girls are taught that too. Some people are not even taught that. They just absorb it by themselves because they don't want to look soft or feel weak. And I'm one of them people. But it's not about me. My point is, men are taught at a young age, as boys are taught at a young age to neglect their emotions, to neglect their tears, to neglect their feelings, sometimes to neglect their opinion. They feel like they can't speak up on certain things because they're a boy. You know? So first it's man up, be the man of the house. And then when you want to say something with the man, it's you're a boy, stay in your place. It's confusion, right? So now that boy grows up, he's a teenager, and he hasn't cried in years. Because he doesn't want to feel weak. Doesn't want to feel like a bitch, right? That's just how it's portrayed. He don't want to feel weak. He's not showing his emotions. So now he's gray. You know? You ever looked at somebody and they're kind of dead in the eyes? Like it's not really much life. They're just like, hey, what's up? Yeah, no, I'm good. They talk real monotone. And you ask them what's wrong and they're just like, no, I'm cool. I'm good. I'm good. But inside they're screaming for help. Inside they want a hug, but they weren't raised with affection. Because somehow tears equal weakness. Weakness equals emotions. Emotions equal affection, and affection equals weakness. And somehow that's all a cycle. And so they just neglect all of their emotional intelligence because they were taught that that's taboo. Right? All right, so this is when it gets deeper. Let's say little Johnny grows up from a teenager. Now he's a man, right? He's a man with a wife or a girlfriend, however you want to do it. He has a girlfriend. And you know, women are soft. Women are emotional. Women want to know you. he can't even get to know the woman that he loves because he was taught that his emotions mean weakness. So if a man is taught that my emotions make me weak, I'm going to totally disregard everything that I've been taught in my life. And I'm going to go to that woman and I'm not even going to know how to give emotions. A man might be like, okay, I want to let this girl know me. I want to let her in, but I don't know how. I want to cry, but I can't. And I've been around somebody like that. I want to cry, but I can't. Going through the hardest hardship of your life, and you can't even show emotion because at a young age, it was taken from you. So now he's forced to be stone. His heart is cold. He doesn't know how to give affection because it wasn't given to him. And then what happens? A cycle. It repeats, right? He has a son. His son 2 years old. You tell him not to cry because somebody took his toy. Or somebody bullied him. Or his feelings are hurt. Don't cry. Suck it up. Stop crying. What you crying for? You look weak. Stop acting like a baby. You soft. All this verbal abuse that black men take at a young age is not healthy. And that's why black men grow up to be adults and they still don't know how to give themselves to somebody or to open up about emotions. Because it's that little boy that's trapped inside of them that was forced to be a man at a young age. They were never really done growing. They were never really done learning. So now what happens? The man suffers because he doesn't know how to give love. He doesn't know how to give emotion. Or maybe he does know how to give love, but his emotions could use some work. Not everybody's the same. Some men were born with love, were given affection, and they chose not to give too much of it out, but they received it when they could. Everybody's different. But the majority, the societal norm of black men that are raised in America and in other countries, which I'm sure is worse, tears are forbidden. And that's why they grow up and become men who struggle with their mental health and who struggle to ask for help because you're a man. You're supposed to be the provider. You're supposed to fix everything. You're supposed to build everything. Right? You're supposed to protect everybody. And that's why my question is, who's protecting the men? Who's checking on the men? Because if they fail, we don't have any protection. You feel me? So that's why it's very important to reach out to your friends. Doesn't matter the age, doesn't matter the race, doesn't matter the gender. I'm going to show you a few ways that you can check on your friends, and not by asking, hey, how you been? How are you? Those generic questions don't do nothing for you or them, right? Because it's like, okay, you kind of checking up on me, but you're not really checking up on me, right? Like, how are you? Like, we use that as an intro or as a greeting. You notice that? That's a whole nother story. But just real quick, as Americans, you say hey to somebody, they say, hey, how are you? I'm good, how are you? And then you go on and continue the conversation. You ever ask somebody, hey, how are you? And they actually told you how they actually are? No, because that's just the societal norm. So I'm going to challenge you guys before I tell you what I'm going to tell you. I'm going to challenge you guys. The next time you say hello to somebody and they say, how are you? Actually tell them how you feel. Because when people ask me, hey, how are you? I'm like, man, I'm tired. I'm just making it through the day. Or I'm actually great. I'm having a great day. Like, thanks for asking. Like, I legit tell them how I am. Because as Americans, we just say, hey, how are you? I'm good. How are you? Good. Okay. What's going on today? You feel me? It's so generic. It's so robotic. And it's not real. So, this is how you can ask your friends how they're doing. This is how you can help check on their mental health. If somebody seems isolated, if they're isolating themselves, if they are neglecting your friendship, if they are neglecting conversation, if they're distant, if they only come around for a little bit and then leave, if they're not answering their phone, you might have to pull up on them and ask them first. It's really easy questions. First one, what is your mental health 1 through 10? So I'm asking you guys now, and I want you to comment. First question, what's your mental health 1 through 10? 1 being the worst, 10 being amazing. Okay? So if your friend says, oh, it's like a 4, 3, 2, 1, anything below like 5 and below, your next question is, when was the last time that you were like 6, 7, 8, like 6 through 10, or like 7 through 10? And a lot of people don't like talking about the mental health, especially Black men. So this is how you could possibly get them to open up. Because now the second question is showing, okay, you actually care. Like you didn't just get this question from somebody and you're just asking me, like you actually want to talk about this? Okay. And if they feel safe with you, then they will talk about it. So the next question, like I said, is when is the last time you felt your mental health be like a 7 to 10? And they'll be like, oh, shit. Probably like 2 years ago, 2 months ago, 2 weeks ago. You know? And then the last question, or the third question, is, so what's the difference between then and now? Like, what's happened? What has transpired between the time you were a 7 and today to where you feel like you're a 3? And they'll either say, man, I went through this, I went through that, I went through this, and I'm still going through this. Or they'll say something like, a lot, bro. Okay? So if they still have that wall up, you don't have to keep like poking at them and trying to figure out what's going on. They're clearly telling you, I'm not comfortable with sharing that, without saying it. So what you can say next, if this is a friend that has not decided to open up, if they are somebody that decides to open up and they're naming things that they've been through, then your next question is, well, how do you think you can make that better? Or how do you think you can make it a 7 at least, or a 6? And then you can ask them, what are some things that you do that would make you happy? And do you have time for it? Can you make time for it? And then you can start talking about how important it is to make time for themselves, But if this is somebody that has a complete wall up and they're not telling you anything, and, you ask them the third question, like, what's the difference between 2 years ago when you were like an 8 and now when you're a 3? And they're like, bruh, man, a lot. And you can ask like, okay, give me an example. I'm listening. Then that lets them be like, oh, snap, like you really care, Or you can say, they could just be like, what's up? Like, is there anything that you could do to make it better? Or is there any way I can help? They're just like, nah, bro, like, there's nothing nobody can do for me. Like, I gotta do this by myself. Why do people always feel like they gotta do stuff by themselves? Because they gotta be a man, right? They gotta be strong. They can't show tears. They can't show emotion. It kills me. So let the conversation go and just let them know. Give them a disclaimer. Look them in their eye and say, I just want to let you know that I've seen a change and I've seen that you're more distant. And I just want to let you know that, like, I care. I care about your mental health. And if you ever need somebody to talk to about it, I'm here. And you can trust me. They might be like, oh, I appreciate you, dog, and try to make a joke out of it. but deep down inside they know he or she cares. You feel me? So please check on your friends, check on the men, check on the women, check on everybody. But what I've been seeing a lot is men going through a lot of things by themselves without any type of support. And the support can simply be safety. Some men don't feel safe sharing what they're going through because they feel like they have to be successful in every aspect of life, but everybody goes through something. And a lot of people go through things by themselves. And a lot of people don't make it because they don't have that support. And that's exactly why celebrities commit suicide and they're addicted to drugs and they overdose. Because you can have all the money in the world, but if you don't have happiness, you slowly die out and things become a cycle. So if your mental health is not where it's supposed to be, talk to somebody. And if you have somebody around you that you can tell they've changed, or they're going through something, or they're quiet, or they're distant, or they're neglecting their friends, talk to them and ask them the question, what's your mental health 1 to 10? When's the last time you felt 7 and up? What's the difference between now and then? How can you get back to a 7? How can I help you get back to the 7 or 8 or 9 or 10? What did you do during that time that made you happy, and can you do it again? You feel me? Volunteer your time. It doesn't take long. That's all I have to say. Please take mental health serious, you guys. I've seen a lot of people get lost without any support. And I'm going to let you guys know right now, y'all got me. Okay? Y'all got me.